Hi everyone and welcome to Rage Print. I'm Andy and this is episode 15 of my chopper build. And in this episode we finally put the electronics in chopper. I have everything in front of me that I need, apart from wiring, and we're going to put it all in chopper. So let me just quickly show you. There we go. That's all the pieces we need to make chopper move and make a noise. The only thing I won't be doing is anything that's servo controlled, so the dome tilt, the arms, the periscope, and the front utility arm. None of that's going to work just yet, and the doors as well. None of that will work just yet because I need to program the maestro. This is purely get him rolling. Just get him rolling, and hopefully it all works. It's a very similar setup to R2. So it should be fairly au fait how everything works. And yeah, there are a lot of components, but we should be good. So why don't you join me and see how we get on. Right then, as I showed you on the intro, these are all the pieces we need for chopper. They all get mounted onto this board. I think so. These are for those. So they're the Wago connectors, or English versions of them. So they're there. We'll talk about those later. But what needs to go on here is a fuse box. So from the battery to the fuse box. From the fuse box, we send power to the Kyber, which will be in its little box. We also send power to the amplifier. And we also send power to the siren, to the saber tooth and to the siren. That's 12 volt power. We also have a line coming off, going to this buck converter down to 5 volts, which will power this maestro. And that's mounted on this board here, and that sits somewhere near the front. And that's to control the servos for the utility arm and the 2 doors, and later on, maybe for like a cutting disc or something like that. So I'll mount those on the board and configure them. Configure the buck converter down to 5 volts, but I won't do anything more than that with that. Fiber boards will have connections into the receiver and also into the amplifier as well. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, and into these two as well. So they're just serial connections from memory. No, sorry, we don't. The connections to these go into that. Yes, the connections to these go into that. The connections from that go into there, and there's a connection to there. Right. Coming out of here, we have a ground loop isolator with that, and then that plugs from the DF mini player. Comes from the Kyber into there, and then from there we'll attach it to some speakers. Now there are 3D printed speaker mounts designed for chopper, but they're for smaller speakers. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to end up hot gluing these to the inside of the chopper. You might be going, oh my god, hot glue! That won't hold. I hot glued R2s in about 5 years ago. I haven't had to touch them since. The hot glue is pretty good as long as you're not putting pressure on it. So for the moment, I just need to work out where everything's going. In most cases, Tim Hebel, who designed this, he designed it for Padawan. So most of the things on here, so like he has two fuse boxes because he's running 12 and 24 volt power. I'm only running 12, so I only need one fuse box. He does have the saber tooth, which I think that's for the amplifier. The saber tooth goes here somewhere. The siren goes there, or there. And then somewhere, I think it's this one, is where the what do you call it? It's where the Mega goes. Ground loop isolator goes there, so the amplifier board should fit here. Like I already said, it won't. So I might have to move things around a bit. It should all eventually fit. That's the plan anyway. You can see all these little marks here, these are for zip ties, and these slots here are for switches. These will be the master switches. Just flip it over. So 20, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but 24 volt, 12 volt legs, and I can't remember what that one is. But basically 24 volt on off, don't need that. 12 volt on off, yeah. Legs on off, and then these will be for other parts which I will look up before I put them in. I definitely need these two. I think one of these might be the master. That's the master switch to the battery, so that's master switch to the legs. Yeah, I can't. These are for something. I'll have to look at what they are. Yeah, so I think the first thing I'll do is I'm going to mount all the switches anyway, and then I'll start mounting these bits on, and then once they're all mounted, I can put the wiring on, and then from the wiring, it should just be a simple connection to the battery. And then from the also wiring to here will be sorry, from the saber tooth, and for the siren will be to the motors that are already in chopper, so the dome motor and the legs. The connections for those, I'm actually going to put via a Wago connector, and that's simply because I want to be able to easily disconnect it without having to unscrew things, and I'd rather just unclip a wire, pull it out, take this out if I need to, especially when it comes to painting. I don't mind the motor getting spray painted because I can cover that up easily, but I can't cover an entire board up. So that's the plan. I'll start mounting these bits on. I don't need those at the moment, so that can go there. Yeah, I'll start mounting bits up, and then when you see it, this should all be screwed on. Right, we're done. Couple of little hiccups. The amplifier board that I'm using is obviously different than the one that Tim used. His amplifier board went here. No way that was going to fit. So I went to put it here and it still didn't quite fit, so that's hot glued down rather than screwed down. The receiver is up here. There was, Tim used is using Padawan as I explained. The Mega would have been mounted here, so there's no need for a receiver. That's now up here. I'm hoping there's wires from here and here going to there, and wires from there going to there. That's probably the best place for it. And also this means it's at the highest point possible. I've got to find some way of tying that down where it's not going to get interfered with, but also it's not going to get clipped by the dome itself. So the siren is mounted here. The motor controls will come out here. They're going to go into these Wago connectors and then back out to the motors. Well, in this case, to the siren, up to the dome motor control. And same here for the saber tooth. Motor come out here into the Wago, back out to the motor. And that means I've got an easy disconnect. I will be labelling the cable so I know which way round they need to go, because if you wire them the wrong way round, then you turn left and you go forward, and yeah, it's a mess, so you make sure you get that the right way around. That's screwed down. That's probably the siren screwed down, the saber tooth screwed down. They're the only things that are screwed down. The Kyber is EMA glued to the frame. That should be strong enough to hold it. It's molecularly welded, I believe. We've got the ground loop isolator, that's just hot glued, but there is a space. I just tipped it slightly more. There's a space here for a tie wrap. I'm going to dig some tie wraps out later and sort of tie wrap it just to be sure, but that'll also capture these cables. You see here we've got a cable coming out the Kyber into the ground loop, out the ground loop, and then round the back into the top of there. I'm hoping that's not going to get hit by anything. If not, I might have to pull this down slightly, maybe mount that there. I've got access at the top to the SD card and the programming port on the two Kyber pieces. S-Bus comes out the bottom there, and Maestro control. Switches. I can only put 3 switches in because let's see if I do that. The width of these is just slightly too wide for me to get one in between, so I've only got 3 switches. I'm going to make this the master control switch, so that's power because it's closest to the fuse board, so that's master control. And thinking about it, there should be one before the fuse box. Yes, this will be before the fuse box. And then we've got legs, and I decided I'm going to have one for the dome as well. That's pretty much all I need in terms of that. Going to Wago connectors, explain. And then I've got this, which is, as I explained before, goes to the front of the droid. Now, despite the fact that Tim has the same butt converter, or it looks the same in the picture anyway, the holes didn't line up. So again, this has been hot glued down, and I didn't have the M2 screws. Wait, who has M2 screws? So again, that's hot glued down. It's not ideal, but it seems to work well for most electronics I use. So that's pretty much it. The next step is just doing the interconnect wiring between all these pieces, and then we can start moving the wiring out into the rest of the body. I need to put some longer cables here. This would connect into here, and then we need to put the fuses in. As I said, everything apart from the Maestro will happily run at 12 volts, so I don't need to do any drop down on this board at all, which is nice. That's going to give me my 5 volts out to power that anyway, so I don't need to worry too much. The DF player runs at 5 volts, but there's a regulator already inside the Kyber board. Incidentally, this is only hot glued down, so I can pop it off and get to it if I need to. That's pretty much it. Oh, speakers will come out here and sort of wire through. This makes it nice to again. The speakers cable will go through there, I imagine. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So next step is to do the wiring. Just as I said, do the interconnect wiring, sort this out, and then we're good to go. Oh, need to put some fuses in as well. So yeah, and then we'll be good to go. Right, that's taken me a while, mainly because I was running out of the connectors I need. Pardon me. So I've wired up, I think, all the power connections. So I've got power going to the Kyber, power going to the amplifier, power going to the siren, and then cables coming out that eventually go to the motors. I've got power all wired into the fuse box, and I've got power wired into the saber tooth, and then again wires coming out to the Wago connectors. The observant of you will notice there's now 2 more. That's because I miscalculated. I was copying the siren where there's only 2 motor connections. The saber tooth obviously has 4 for 2 motors. So the next step is just to hook up the servo wires, so you know, these sort of wires, and hook them up between the Kyber, the Kyber and the receiver to the siren and the saber tooth, and I think that's it. That's all the servo connectors I need. I've got 2 more connections free, which is fine because I need a power connection to go off to here and a power connection to go off up into the slip ring. These 2 connections obviously will go to this switch here. So I think it's all ready. Obviously I need to put the fuses in, but I think it's already nearly to just do a power test to make sure everything just actually powers up. Just so you can see on the back, obviously I need to put the wire ties in. That's kind of how it looks. I'm a little unsure about putting wires across here, purely because can't quite remember at what point the body touches this. I've got a funny feeling it's here, in which case these wires are right in the way. In which case I'll have to undo them and drag them back across here, which doesn't make a lot of sense in my head, because then you've got wires going across the back, or the front, depending which way you look at it. But then saying that, there'd be wires coming out here anyway. going to various places. So, gee, I just realised I made a mistake. Yeah, I made a mistake. These two are supposed to disconnect the motors. So they need to be wired into the battery connection here. So these need to be disconnected and wired to here. And then from here to here. So close. Okay, I'll get on with that. Well, actually, I'll get on with that tomorrow. It's getting late, so I'll pick it up in the morning. But that's where we are at the moment. Right, that took longer than I hoped because I messed it up again. I forgot to put the thicker gauge wire on from going from the battery to the fuse box and from the fuse box to the saber tooth, because it'd be drawing a lot more than 5 amps. You know, it could be up to 30 amps on there, so I need a thicker wire. Anyway, I've done that. I've run out of connectors, so I've had to order some more connectors. I've also had to order some more of my thicker gauge wire. This has all got left. That's not enough to hook up batteries and up to chopper's legs. I also need to redo the wiring from here to here, because again, 30 amps going through there. That'll only handle 5 amps. I should have realised that when I did it the first time. However, I've done the hookup, so I've now got power going to everything. I've got S-bus coming out of the Kyber into my receiver. Then from the receiver, I'm going to signal on the siren, signal 1 and signal 2 for tank drive on the saber tooth, along with grounds going into ground on there. So the only other thing to do now is a quick power test. Make sure everything turns on. Now, this is not the ideal way to do it, but as I said, I've run out of connectors, so I'm having to just very gingerly hook things up. I do not recommend doing this. Right, let's have a look. So if this works, we should start seeing the lights everywhere. Why not? Turn the switches on. Listen to the switches work. Right, let's try that again. There we go. So you can see things are flashing. I don't know if you can quite see the saber tooth. Saber tooth's flashing, siren's flashing, receiver's flashing. The amplifier's on. I'm going to assume the Kyber is on. There needs to be a hole in that box so you can see the signal. You can see it's turned on. Anyway, that looks good. So the only thing let's do is change. When I get some new connectors, either circle or spade, I don't mind which. Spade, circle or fork, I don't mind which. Change these 4 wires here that go into here for the thicker gauge, and then from there, the thicker gauge go out to the motors. Again, I think I'm using some radio connectors out of that connection point. And obviously from here, that can say the 5 amps. I don't think it draws much more than 5 amps. The dome motor, so it should be all right. And then, yeah, wiring going off to the slip ring, not to the slip ring, to the dome motor. So the only thing really left is power to go out to this, up to this, and power to go to the slip ring, which I can't do until I've finished building the mag tags, which are just there. Building some mag tags, and yeah. So yeah, just got to wait for the stuff to turn up, and then we can carry on from there. Oh, incidentally, these are switches I'm using, so that's on, so that'll be lit up. Earth, power supply, what you're trying to power. So yeah, that's it. So I get the rest of the cable and the connectors. Right then, so I've just run some wiring up through the little slot there, and then through there, and down into the body, and then the same on the other side as well. It's a complete guess on the lengths at the moment. They're way too long, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of spade clips on here, and then pull the remaining through so it's not tight, because I need to be able to pull this down to be able to get to unclip it to be able to take the leg off. But so it's not totally visible either. And then I'll leave the lengths in there for the moment, just like I left a length for the dome motor. And then once we're ready to put the electronics board in, I can cut to length. So first of all, let's get the spade clips on. Right, wiring's done, and these insulated bits are off the original motor, scooter motor wiring. So actually the spade connectors I've put are just up in here, and all I can do is just pull them down, hopefully. Now's probably a good time to test. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, so the idea being I could just pull them down very gently and get to the cabling. Alright, I'll redo that one. Right, I've pulled them out for now because I'm just going to have to take them apart again when I take the body apart, so I don't want to... Basically, when they get pushed up, I want to be that time that the next time they come down is maintenance, pardon me. So they're out, I'll leave them like that. That also means I'll give them enough slack inside the body as well. In here. I'm not quite sure what to do next, as obviously I've got the wiring for this now. I've got the wiring for the motors. I guess I could hook some speakers up. I mean, I think from memory, one speaker goes here, and the other speaker goes against that grill there, from memory. So I can solder the speakers up, and I've got the speaker wire, and that's ready to go as well. I'll have a quick look at that, and then we'll see. Right, I've tidied up the wiring. I've now got the thicker gauge cable on all four of these ports up to here. I've got the two battery cables, and I've just used whatever length I had left of this gauge cable. That's pretty much used all that gauge cable left I've got. As I showed you earlier, I've done the cabling in the Droid as well. So now the two pieces are ready to hook up. I need to see the speaker wires, so these need soldering, and I need a positive and negative on each one. I need to actually look where those get mounted. I also need to do a wiring for this, but I kind of want to. I need to do that now. Yeah, okay, I'll do a length of wire. I'll just take a ponce on a length of wire to wire up this, and then I need another length of wire that's going to go up the slip ring as well. That doesn't need to be very long actually, it's not that far to the slip ring. So yeah, I'll just do the two lengths of the 4 lengths of wire, and then we'll look at putting this in. Right, I've added these two wires in, so this is going to be for the slip ring. This is another one of Tim Hebel's mods, so you put the Wago connectors in here, and then you put the slip ring connections in there as well, and then the other side you put the data, and that goes off the slip ring. And then I've got my other wiring here, which goes off to the buck converter and the Maestro. I've knocked that down to 5 volts. I could knock it to about 7.5 if I wanted to. I may do that if I find there's not enough power into the servos, but it's just a quick turn of the screwdriver. So I did a power up test and everything came up. I thought I smelt smoke, but I can't see anything burning or on fire. So I'm thinking it might just be outside because the window is open. At least I'm hoping it's outside anyway. So yeah, I think the last step now is actually to mount it in chopper. Yeah, I think that's the last step, mount it in chopper. Still need to do the wiring for here. Not sure the best way to do that. I will need to print the speaker mounts, even though these are bigger than 3 inches. They are, I assume it's direct across. Oh no, they are 3 inches. 4 if you go that way. So 4 that way, 3 across. So depending on how Tim's measured them, they might be the right size. So I will print the speaker mounts for those. So I'll do that after I finish this. And then that'll be solder the speaker wires to that, attach the speaker mounts to that, and then that'll be cabled into that. And then I think that's everything. I need to get a battery. This is the one out of the scooter, and it's old, it's knackered. It was enough to power up this. So yeah, I don't honestly think there's anything else left to do than hook everything up. I'm now hoping that new wiring fits in there because it's considerably thicker than this wiring. We'll see, I might just have to strip away more insulation. But anyway, let's give it a try. Right, so this is an absolute pig to get in. I don't know if it's just my printing or what, but it's a pig. So you can see it's supposed to slot into those bits there, and then the screw holes go in number 2. So there's 1, 1, 2. So that screw hole should go in there, and then likewise this V slot should go in there. Do you think I can get it to fit? No. However, this centre bar here, which you can, it's very hard to see. Centre bar here, so just there, you can see it's in line. So that's connected badly, but you can see there that's in place. So I think I could just screw it in and it'll be all right. I'm not going to screw it in now because obviously I need to take it out. Oh, that's the other thing. Getting this in is a pain in the neck. Without taking this off, you have to play Tetris to get it through the back door. So bear that in mind. Right. So what have I hooked up so far? Well, obviously we've got battery power going into it and everything's powered up. As you can see, the receiver has a green light. The siren has a nice blue light, which is more or less stable. So if I pick up my controller, as you can see we're connected to Chopper. So I'm now going to turn, I don't catch any wires in the process. We have one thing working. Well, that LED looks like it's really flashing on my phone, but looking at it in person, it doesn't barely move at all. So the next step is, I don't know if you noticed that I had to move this because put it behind there was in the way. So when this comes back out, that'll be zip tied. Yeah, the next step is to hook the motors up. Now that's going to be a bit of a guesswork. At the moment I've got, I mean I could copy what I've done on R2, I should be able to work it out, but so at the moment the positive and negative lead on each leg is going to the positive and negative lead on each motor. Now I know one of them needs to be swapped around the other way, so the positive goes to the negative. But I think what I'll actually do is when I come to plug it in at the bottom there, and I really need to label those because I'm going to forget. There's me trying to make it look nice and tidy. It'll look tidy once I'll cut all the wires to length. Yeah. So next step is to get the wires in. As I said earlier, these cables are a lot thicker than the other cable that I was using, so I'm hoping it fits in the Wago connector. But it's looking good. I really want to hook a speaker up to get some sound coming out of Chopper. I haven't got anything hooked up that I can use. Never mind, we'll get there. So yeah, I haven't smelled the burning smell again, which is encouraging. So it's already burnt out, or I was just smelling outside. But either way, it's looking good. So motor wires, I'm going to cut them to length, but give me enough length that I can swap them around and there'll be a bit of slack in there. I'm going to end up with a lot of slack on these motor wires, but I don't mind too much because I don't want to get myself in a situation where they're too tight for me to actually do anything with them. So that'd be my next step. So hopefully the next time you see this, the motors will be hooked up. Although they are going to be tethered to the battery over there. I suppose I could put the battery in there, put some proper crocodile clips on it and test it. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Right, I've got the the scooter motors hooked up, and as I suspected, the wiring was quite thick and it had trouble going into the Wago connectors. So I think what I might do is, when they get connected properly, is maybe just I don't know, put a bullet connector on there or something, or I don't know, something to make it a little thinner just so it can go through. So I've hooked them up willy-nilly. I've gone positive to positive, negative to negative, and I took a complete guess on which motor output was which Wago connector because I really should have labelled them. But anyway, this is the result. So I'm now going to push forward on chopper. There we go. So we're going backwards. Right, backwards goes forwards, and then if I go right, I go left. If I go left, I go right. So basically, it's all backwards. Now I could easily just fix that in the receiver. In fact, that's probably what I will do, just to make things easier. But yeah, it's working. I have a moving chopper. He's going backwards in the wrong way, but it's working. So I've actually fulfilled the brief. I've got a working droid by the end of this video. There's no sound, admittedly. I could do the sound next. And he's running off the tether. So, you know, if he goes too far, that's it. The battery disconnects. So yeah, I think I'm going to play around the mixing. I'll swap the outputs around and see if that fixes it. And then, if not, I'll have to mess around with the wiring and move things around. Yeah. And let's maybe get the sound working. Exciting! Chopper's running! Chopper's moving under his own power. Sort of. Right, so it turns out there's nothing wrong with my wiring. Although I did actually swap the positive and negatives around between the Wago connectors. So where you had the two at the bottom and the two at the top, I've actually swapped them over. So now that one's going to the bottom set of Wago connectors, that one's going to the top set of Wago connectors, and then on the mixer, I changed throttle back to 100% weight the right way. I was getting myself confused. I was adjusting elevators and making that minus 100, thinking that was changing my left and right. Of course, it's rudder, isn't it? So channel 1 is for the dome. Channel 2 is the left and right of the motors. Channel 3 is the throttle. So I was adjusting channel 4, which is wrong. That's irrelevant because that's that bit. It's this one I want. So as soon as I adjusted the rudders, everything was fine. So I'm now going. I'm going to turn left, turn right, I'm going to go forward, I'm going to go back. So everything is as it should be. And you'll notice that the aileron, which is channel 1, I've also made minus 100 because I'm going to push left, dome moves left, I'm going to push right, dome moves right. I had that the wrong way around, I hadn't realised originally. So that's sorted. yeah, sound next. I need to work out where I'm going to put this. I keep losing telemetry. I don't know if it's the fact that these PCBs or what, but I'm thinking maybe they just get mounted here. Don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's now disabled the dome drive. That now disables the legs, and I really have to find a way to fix that switch because it's a bit wobbly. And then cut power to everything. As you can see, so disconnect my makeshift battery connectors, and yeah. So the next stage is sound. So I need to print out the speaker mounts, and speaker mounts, and solder the connectors to the speakers, and then hook the speakers up, and then we should be able to get sound out of chopper. I could also hook the slip ring adapters up on the body side. So I'll show you what I mean. Power off the receiver. There we go. Right. Where are they? Down here. So that's for the slip ring. I need to put 2 more of the radio connectors in for the data cables. So that's these cables here. And then that, if I just untangle it from all the wiring, the idea would be that it goes sort of here-ish, probably there. Basically connects there, somewhere along there. And then these wires get fed into there, leaving 2 free for data. So obviously red and black will be used for power and positive and negative, and then 2 more for positive and negative, and then 2 for data. 2, 3, 4, yeah, 6. And that should be enough to handle 12 volts going up there. I'm hoping. I'm not used to using a 6 ring, I usually use a 12 ring. That's 6 wire, not a 12. I usually use a 12 wire. So I'm hoping that's going to be alright. But anyway, yeah, we're getting there slowly. Right, so I've soldered up the wires to the speakers. These are the front speakers, electron cable. These are the back speakers because amplifier's just above it. I printed out Tim's speaker mounts and they fit perfectly. So, it holds line perfectly. So I'm going to glue these into the body. Screw these in, but I'm going to screw these in beforehand so the threads are done, rather than trying to reach in and screw them in that way. And then I can hook the speakers. So let's see we have the speakers hooked up. Okay, so the speakers are hooked up. Ignore the wiring rung, and I'm going to tighten that up eventually. And you can see there, the other speakers down there. I've screwed the electronics mount in. It's only screwed in one place. Don't ask. So speakers are plugged in. So let's hook up my battery. Ooh, power on chopper. We have. Oh. Right, so I flick that. They're all negative. Nice. And if I flick that. Charming. Do that again. I would say that is working. There's a slight as the speaker goes, but to be honest, R2 does that as well, so I'm not worried. Could also be the fact the battery's hooked up weirdly. Oh, I managed to burn my finger using the soldering iron. There's the negative wire on that speaker decided to come loose, and I had to try and do some acrobatics with a soldering iron. Yeah, I agree, Chopper. So I just need to hook up the proper battery. Now, Tom Powell in the Mr. Badly Printed Droids group is going to send me the CAD files, or the STL, to print something. Oh, no. Let's disconnect that properly. It sits in here, and the battery would sit there. And then you can take the battery out and have access to the wing nut. So I'm just waiting for him to send me that, and then we can print that out and attach the battery properly. Trim all these wire cables down. I need to attach that as well while I think about it. There's probably the best bet. Yeah, thinking there's best bet. Yeah, and then we'll be good to do a actual drive test. I know, an actual drive test, chopper driving. Yay! Okay, so hopefully next time you see it, we'll have a proper battery in there. If not, I might just jury rig the battery being in there without the frame around it. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go run my hand in this cold water because it's really starting to sting. Okay, so we now have a battery in chopper, and I've wired the battery up. He sat on my drive, and this is literally the first time I am trying anything. So the transmitter is on. Alright, chopper is on. Whoa! Whoa! Right, he's already stuck on a. This is not the best thing to be testing it on. Okay, so we've already lost a screw. You can see there. That is very violent. So I'm barely moving that forward. That is very little in the way of pushing the throttle forward. I mean, it is that much. Alright, a bit more when he's going backwards, but yeah, he's fast. You can see some wires escaping at the bottom there. I'll just grab those before they start getting tangled up. I imagine they're the motor wires, so they need to tighten up a bit. And then I'm going to take a quick dare I drive them down the drive, considering that's a slope. Let's try it. So I'm going to do this off camera in case I need to run quickly. Right, so we got this far without crashing. That's about as dare as I much move the dome at the moment because there's still wires dangling inside. Can't believe I'm driving this one-handed. So it's something I'm half tempted to do is change the throttle over with the dome rotation so that the throttle is on the springy stick on the right hand side. So this one, because I'm not using up and down, and I think that would be better for the throttle for me rather than just forgetting and letting it go in off in a panic. And the ankle locks come off again. I'm still not convinced I need those. They're only just pushed in anyway. But yeah. So it's going well so far. I suppose this is a good shaking test. Block paving. And there goes the other ankle lock. I would say that's a success. Bye bye, chopper. He's moving, he's talking. So honestly, when he was out on the drive, that is the first time I was making him roll, other than you saw him attached to the battery earlier on, the external battery. That's the first time. Or I put the battery in, cut the cables to length, and then just got him out on the drive and started filming. I had no idea if it was going to work. I was fully expecting it to just go bang or just not do anything, or what I wasn't expecting it was to just shoot off as fast as it did. Yeah, I think I might be changing the throttle curve slightly just so it's not quite as lunatic scale, ludicrous speed. You nearly went to plaid speed then. But yeah, he's rolling. I have electronics. I have a battery. Donated from R2, admittedly. The battery only hasn't turned up yet. We have drive. We have dome control. We have sound. That was the goal of this video, and we've got it. Next is getting these guys working, and is made so that one's for the body, and then this one's for the dome, which has the right way around. Goes that way. Which has a chopper's ladder light, which I guess will actually be that way around. So that's the light that shines at the side of his head, just on that side there. So yeah, need to put that together, and I think that will be part of the video that covers doing this as well. So that'll be getting power to the dome, so we need a mag tag. That'll be getting LED lights in, getting the periscope working, getting the arms working, getting the doors working, and getting the... Well, here's the thing. I haven't done the doors on the front of the body because I want to paint the inside of the doors, the actual sort of red pans themselves. I also haven't put the utility arm on the front because I want to paint that separately. I don't have to try and take it apart too much. However, as the build's gone, I've kind of gone against that build principle, and I've got the arms in the door, I've got the arms in the dome, I've got the doors on the dome, I've got the periscope in the dome, which all have to be taken apart again to paint. So I kind of, no pun intended, painted myself into a corner here. Anyway, that's the problem that can be overcome. It's just I'm doing some screws and then cursing at putting them back in again. But hopefully once they've been in, well, I mean, as I've shown with the doors on multiple videos, it's quite easy to take the doors off. The arms are actually quite easy to take apart because all you do is just undo 2 screws and lift the whole mechanism out. 3 screws because I've got to undo the servo, but anyway. So yeah, that's chopper's moving. This means I've still got to tidy up some wiring. The wiring to the motors from the speed controller is way too long. That's the cables that are hanging out the bottom. So that needs trimming down. And other than that, I think all the other wiring's okay in length. I've started doing some cable tidying. I need to do a bit more once the wires are shortened down. And also start labelling the wires, because at the moment they're all red and black, and if I have to take it apart for whatever reason, I need to know which black wire goes to which black connector. So I think I'll do a similar sort of thing as I did in R2 and use like different coloured electrical tape. Failing that, I might try and borrow a Dymo labeler from somewhere and just label them that way, which ultimately might actually be a better idea, because then I'll know what the blue, rather than trying to remember what the blue means. Colour to colour. Yeah, anyway, whatever. Labelling wise, I strongly recommend you do that. I learnt that the hard way with R2 when when a couple of the connectors came loose from going into the legs, and I was sitting there trying to remember. I couldn't work out which way around they needed to go. If I'd labelled them, I would have known that was those two go around that way. I'm a wicked chopper. So something else I need to do. Sorry. Something else I need to do is I need to dive into the Kyber software, because at the moment he has one button working. Sorry, one button and one switch working. As you saw in the video, if I press button number 1 with the switch one way, he does one type of sound, turn the switch the other way, he does another type of sound. So I've got 2 banks of buttons. So that's 28 buttons. Yeah, 28 buttons, because button 15 is always the cut-off on both banks. And the first switch on the top, I haven't got it here to show you, but the first switch on the top, switch A, which is a 3-position switch. When it's in neutral, is nothing, up is a sound, down is a sound. Could have changed it to 2 more switches, but actually I quite like that idea. So I've got a couple of sounds, which you could tell I was using quite a lot in that video. So I need more sounds. And then ultimately it'll start adding in the Maestro programs as well. So, click that switch or press that button, do Maestro program 1, and that'll raise the periscope up and look around and come back down again. Yeah, so I'm rambling. I'm rambling. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.